and then open the eyes. And we're going to start this sequence on the belly. And so our warm-up section here is going to involve just playing with finding those connections so that we can really feel it. So you might want to have a little look first, because the first thing that we're going to start with will need your forehead on the floor. So I'm going to place the forehead down, and the arms come out like a nice wide V shape. Now I'm going to demonstrate with my left arm first because it's closest to the camera. I want to push down into the tops of my feet so I feel there's some engagement through the legs, and then drawing the left arm bone back into the shoulder socket, which then brings the shoulder blade further down my back, and then lift that arm. I want to keep the top of the shoulder relaxed and then bring it back down to its starting point. And then same thing on the other side. I'm dragging this arm back. It's like I'm trying to draw the bone back into the shoulder and the shoulder blade further down the back, and then lift the arm and bring it back and relax. So if you haven't already, join me. So we're going to do that a few more times. I'm drawing my left arm in, and then lift. And you might feel all of a sudden, wow, why is that so hard? It's because we're using muscles in the mid-back to lift up the arm instead of using the top of the shoulder. And then notice the next time you're drawing that left arm in, just lift the navel a little bit, feel like the glutes start to help. And then the other side, we'll do the right side again. A little lift. And then lower it again. Okay, pause there for a moment. Just, especially if that's a really new movement. I believe I've done that in another class. So if you have done it with me before, hopefully there's a sense of familiar engagement for you. If not, it can take a while to really get that, but I feel like it's a really important movement to get that stability of the shoulder joint. Okay, so now we're going to add the opposite leg, right? So forehead back to the floor. Again, I'm going to start with my left arm, drawing back in. Lift the arm up, push down into the left foot so that the right leg rises. And a pause there for a moment so you can feel as if your right shoulder blade is trying to reach towards your left shoulder blade is trying to reach towards your right butt cheek. And the hamstrings engaged as well. And then lower it back down again. Same thing on the other side. So the right arm drawing in and lifting, and then the left leg lifting and lowering. And let's do this a few more times. Again, this is the cross line in the back of the body. And I'm going to do one more time, right arm, left leg. And then once again, pause. Let's fold our arms and rest the forehead on the hands and just breathe. Now, again, if that's like a new movement for you, that can feel like a lot of work. And I think it's important because, like I said earlier, if you're sitting at a desk all day and you're not activating those muscles, then they're going to be a little weak, right? So it's great even just doing that much, you can be done if you want to. You can say, okay, Julie, that was enough, bye. Finish the rest of the video later. Okay, so now I'm going to focus on the leg. So I'm going to keep my forehead on the floor, push down on the left foot, lift the right leg. I'm going to make a little micro bend in my right knee. And then I'm going to reach my right leg across the left leg so that my right hip bone peels up off the floor, and I'm almost rolling to the outer left hip. And then I'm going to roll the belly back onto the floor and lower the leg back down again. On the other side, the left leg lifts, a little micro bend in the knee, reaching the left leg across so that it peels the hip up, and then bring it back down, lower the left leg. I'm going to do this a few times, right? So again, this is, it's a new movement for a lot of us. You're going to feel a lot of those smaller muscles in the back of the leg, the back of the hip, the glutes, the lower back, but then you'll also feel the obliques get involved as well, which is what I really like, is that it becomes 100% integrated. And then you cross it over, the hip peels up, and then bring it back down. So we're going to do one more time to the left side, and then we're going to start using that action to go into the full sequence. And bring it back to the starting point. Take a breath or two there. And then reach the arms back out to the V. Lift the right leg and the left arm. As you place the left arm down, bring it closer to your ear. Reach the right leg across the left leg. Keep rolling onto the left side of the body and then all the way onto the back of the body. Bend both knees, and we end up with the soles of the feet on the floor and the pelvis, the back of the pelvis on the floor. And you might feel that line behind you activated. Push the feet down, lift the hips up, rolling all the way up to the top of the shoulders and back down. And then extend through the legs and reach. And maybe you can touch your toes, you can even have your knees bent, but I just want the elongation through the back of the body, and then lower it back down again. And then again, we're going to activate. Push the feet down, engage through the back of the body. Let's take a little hula hoop here, little circle in one direction. Lower the pelvis down, extend the legs, maybe reach up and touch the toes, and then lower it back down. Arms to the side. One more time, I'm going to do my hula hoop in the opposite direction, lifting it up through the center. Again, feel the whole back of the body engage. Lower the pelvis. Lift the legs, lift the hands, reach up and lower it back down. And then as the feet come down, this time I'm going to slide the left leg away, bring the right knee up towards the right shoulder, arms out to the side, and I'm going to start rocking. So all those muscles in the back that I activated, I want to now find that spiraling release for them. So a little bit of that stretch. And I'm not going to hold a twist. I'm feeling the hips revolve. And then the left arm is going to reach up along the side of the ear. Keep rolling to the left until I fall all the way over onto my belly. We go back to the starting point. Arms out like a V shape, forehead on the floor. Take a few breaths there. Okay, now opposite side. So this time it's going to be drawing the right arm in, lift it up, lift the left leg, and just pause there for a moment. Feel all of that activate. And then as you place the right arm down, reach it closer towards your head, and then extend the left leg past the right leg until you roll onto the right side of the body. Keep rolling until you're on the back. Soles of the feet drag in, knees up towards the ceiling, arms come down either side of the hips. Lift the hips up, just straight up for the first one, lower it down, extend the legs, reach the hands towards the toes, lower back down, feet to the floor, lift the pelvis up again. This time, circle the hips in one direction and lower it back down and extend up, lower it down, hips rise up and circling in the other direction. And lower it back down and extend it up and lower it back down. And this time left knee comes in, right leg extends away. And I'm going to take the arms out to the side, either cactus arms or like a T shape, and the left leg leading across the body to the right. So I'm rocking from side to side here. Just taking it a little bit further each time. And so I might feel that as that hip passes around, that connection comes all the way up through the back. And then the right arm moves out of the way. So I reach up along the side of the ear to keep rolling onto the belly, slide the legs straight, and we'll come and rest here for a moment, forehead on your hands. Take a few deep breaths there, in and out. Okay, we're going to do that again and add some other actions into it, okay? So start with the arms out wide like the V shape, forehead on the floor, and dragging the left arm back, lift it up, feel that for a moment, then lift the opposite leg. Feel that connection, keep the leg up, left hand comes down a little bit closer to your head, reach the right leg across the left until you roll all the way onto the back, bend the knees, arms come down, lift the pelvis. And it's like this nice rhythm of the body rolling and lifting, extending through the legs, reaching up towards the toes, rolling down again. Hips come up, little hip circle. And this really gets that cross line activated as you shift from one leg to the other. Yeah, you might feel that in the back of the body. Then we extend it, we release it. So it's kind of like we stretch whatever muscles we're then engaging, vice versa. Hips in the other direction. And then extend through the legs, reaching up towards the toes, and then folding it back down. Now this time, bring the soles of the feet back down to where they were, and start rocking the knees from side to side. Little windshield wiper. I'm going to switch over a little bit. Windshield wiper from side to side. Just waking up the hip flexors because that always feels nice. And then I'm taking my knees all the way to the left. So you'll end up back on your mat. Once again, I'm going to move my left arm out of the way, roll to the left, right hand comes down in front of me, extend the right leg away towards the back of my mat, and then come to a Dandasana. So I kind of end up sitting upright in a Dandasana towards the back of my mat. We'll start with the knees bent and just take a few spinal circles, right? We're always going to massage through the back of the body. And you might feel like it's a little bit easier to move into a forward fold as you pass through the circles because we activated those muscles. Remember, activating and elongating always in equal measure. Okay, that's just to have a little bit of a release. All right, now we're going to play a game. So you're going to fold forward, and as you come up, bow and arrow, right arm pulls back, right knee bends. So I want to feel my right shoulder blade try to meet my left butt cheek, right? So we played that game, but we were on our bellies with that sensation, right? And then fold it back over the legs, and then left side. And again, it's that left shoulder blade trying to reach down across the body. That's what creates that spiraling action. And fold it forward and revolve to the right. And fold it forward and revolve to the left. And fold it forward. And we're going to pause to the right. And again, I'm going to just take a little pulse here. And I'm trying not to worry about how far I'm twisting. I want to feel that activation of that right shoulder blade down towards the left butt cheek. So you might notice I take a little leaning action back here. Great. And then I untwist to the left, bending my right leg, stepping down, left hand comes down, hips come up. I'm in a full wild thing, right? Feeling that connection from the left hand all the way to the right foot. Let's take a little pulse here. So hips towards the heels and lifting up and dropping it down again and lifting up one more time. Drop it down, lift it up. Now keeping that left leg straight, drop the hips down, push off with the right leg, swing it all the way around to the lunge. I'm going to inch back onto my mat. And let's just take a little pulse here, because again, releasing in the hip flexors always feels good. So I can have this little lift and lower, pushing the feet away. Great. All right, we're going to add a little standing now. So as I turn my left heel flat, I'm turning to the left, windmilling through the arms. I continue that windmill, lift the right heel up, and I bend the knees. I'm not so worried about this left foot, but trying to reach my left hand towards my right heel. So again, that back spiral. And then unspiral all the way back to the lunge. Turn the right toes out. Right arm reaches up, left hand down. A little lowering there. And then again, turning to the left, windmill through the arms to come all the way up. You can bend that back knee as much as you need to. It's like you're reaching and revolving, coming all the way up and over, back to the lunge, Spiral through the ribs, shoulder blades to opposite butt cheek, coming all the way up, spiraling over, reaching back. Let's just do that one more time for fun. This is a shorter class, so we'll do an extra repetition here. And then one last time, spiraling all the way through. It's like a little helicopter movement. And then coming all the way back to the lunge. Taking that revolving of the rib cage and then placing the right hand down, step back to downward facing dog. Let's just take 1.5 waving vinyasas so that we can end up back on the belly to our starting point. So the next time you come through upward facing dog, go ahead and release the knees, untuck the toes, and end up with the belly on the floor. Forehead to your hands and breathe. Just let all that information settle in the body. Okay, we're going to do all of that on the other side. So once again, we'll start with the arms in a nice wide V shape, forehead on the floor. Draw the right arm into the shoulder socket, lift the arm off the floor, lift the left leg. Feel all of those connections. Then placing the right arm down, closer to the head, reach the left leg across the right behind you until we roll all the way onto the belly. Lift the hips. First one is just straight up. Feel the glutes, feel the hamstrings engage. Lower it back down. Extend through the legs, reaching up towards your toes. Coming back down. And again, lift the hips. And lower the pelvis down. And reaching back up. I forgot to make a circle. So we're going to come up again and we're going to do 2 circles. So the hips circle in one direction. And then they circle in the other direction. And then lower the hips down. And extend the legs, reaching up. And lower them down again. Now this time, feet are a little bit wider, so we take our windshield wipers again. And it's just a nice release. The hip flexors, you might notice the front of the pelvis attaching up into all 5 lumbar vertebrae. Just getting a release there. And then the next time the knees are to the right. Right arm comes out of the way, so reaching up, keep rolling to the right. Extend through the left leg, turn to the back of your mat, and let the right leg come to meet. And again, knees straight or bent this time. A little circular action here. Just, I can add the arms so there's a little bit more core connection. And then we'll start with those twists again. So folding forward, again, knees can be bent, but as I come up, I'm going to twist to the left this time. So my left knee is going to bend, and I'm revolving left shoulder blade towards the right butt cheek or right hip, and then back down forward, and then twisting to the right. And again, it's not about how far you twist. It's not about how far forward you fold. It's about feeling what's working. It's about being in the body and having a dialogue with it. And then one more time each side. And we'll hold to the left. And that left shoulder blade down. Lift the chest up and notice you'll get that slight little arch there. And then as you come out of that twist, we're moving into wild thing. So the right hand comes to the floor behind, the left foot steps nice and wide, hips come up. And then again, I'm doing a little squatting wild thing. You can add arm circles. You can do whatever you like with your arm. You know me. And then the next time, you're going to keep the right leg straight, drop the hips, push off, swing that left leg all the way around to the lunge. I'm going to wiggle back onto the mat again. And so we just take that pulse first and foremost. I'm feeling through the hips. Great. And then we take the twisted lunge. So my right hand stays down, open up the chest to the left. Great. Now going for that upright twisted lunge. So I'm turning to the right, turning the feet with me. Right arm leads up and over, turn the right toes out, lift the left heel, and then I'm reaching behind. It's like I'm trying to grab a hold of that back heel, and you can add that little bit of a back arch. And then as I untwist it, I come back to the twisted lunge, the low lunge. And then turning back to the right, coming all the way up and around, takes a little bit of balance and stability. And then back over to the left, revolving. And again, let's do that 2 more times. Coming up, reaching behind, coming back through center, opening the chest. And last one. And reaching there. Maybe you want to pause there for a moment, a little pulse in that both legs. Lifting up out of it. And then coming back around to the low lunge with the open twist. And then when you're ready, place the left hand down to step back to downward facing dog. Another waving vinyasa, 1.5. Once again, we'll come all the way onto the belly. Meet up there to pause. Forehead on your hands. And then let's roll on to the back. So we're going to finish this shorter sequence just exploring those connections in a back bend. So since we've activated the whole back of the body, we might as well use it, right? Have a little experiment here. So taking the feet a little bit closer in towards the pelvis, but remember, you can have your feet wider than your hips and your toes slightly turned out. For most people, that works with the femur bone. So whatever feels more comfortable for you. But I like to remind people it's okay to do that, right? I'm going to push my elbows down into the floor, what I call robot arms, so I can push the chest up. And for a moment, I want to feel that sense that I'm dragging my feet back towards my hips, and I'm arching my lower back, okay? So that's opposite of what most people teach. I don't really want to tuck under on the way up. I want to keep my lower back arched, right? Because I'm about to go into back bend, so let's prep it already. The thoracic spine's already lifted, and then lift the hips up, right? So then the pelvis will tell you how far it can go. Now, if you can grab onto your heels or your ankles, great. Or if you just want to interlace your fingers and place them down. Or I also like to stand on my hands sometimes and just use that for a bit of leverage to get higher on my shoulders, okay? So that's up to you. Now, up here, what we're going to do is play with something you probably won't be able to see. So I'm going to drag my right heel a little bit more towards my right shoulder and then relax. And then left heel goes towards the shoulder and then relax. So what you feel is the hamstring and the glute, the butt cheek working. And again, if I try to get that sense that the opposite shoulder is aiming, right? So I think left heel in, right shoulder in. Right heel in, left shoulder in. And just play with that a few times. It's just a subtle action. And then let's go ahead and come down, release the shoulders, hug the knees into the chest, and then have a little rock around, okay? We're gonna go up and do that again. And you might all of a sudden feel like, wow, my hamstrings work, my glutes work, right? Because it's not something we normally do, that dragging in action. But hopefully all the stuff that we did on the belly really activated those muscles, so you got that response, all right? So we're gonna try it now, but those of you that wanna go up to full Dhanurasana, we'll have that option as well. And it's going to be more with working with that resistance with the hands and the opposite foot, okay? So I'm going to start off the same way, puff up my chest, lift the lower back off the floor, make sure my shoulders feel like they're open, chest is open. So then as I lift up, it's the pelvis just rises, okay? Now, if you want to do the same again, again, grabbing ankles, whatever, that's fine. If you want to go up into full Urdhva Dhanurasana, hands either side of your head, but wider than your head. Don't place them right next to your shoulders, lifting all the way up, okay? So now it gets a little bit confusing because it's going to be my fingers, the way my fingers are pointing, leading towards the opposite foot, right? And again, it's like a really subtle action. I can feel a lot going on, but I can't see. Like you're not going to see a huge difference in my back bend. But again, shoulder blade towards the opposite butt cheek, heel pulling in, and then maybe just enjoy a little rocking from side to side in your Urdhva Dhanurasana. I like to turn my hands out a little bit. And then when you're ready, coming all the way back down. And let's just rest there, whether you did a half or full bridge. Great, that's fantastic. Take a moment just to notice how the spine feels. After doing this kind of practice, I always am really super conscious of all of the muscles on the floor when I'm on my back. And so a little release there. I'm going to draw my right knee in, extend the left leg away, and I'm going to take that twist that I played with at the very beginning of class and just take a few breaths there. Right arm reaching in one direction, right knee in the opposite direction. And you might see my hand on my knee, but I'm not pulling it. I'm just kind of talking to my leg, going, thank you for all of that work that you just did. And just let the breath take you further if that feels like a good idea. So remember, the breath will always tell you. The breath will say, no, we're not going any further. Or it'll give you a nice deep exhale, and then you get to observe what happens. Sometimes you get your own chiropractic treatment here, where you hear a clunk, clunk, clunk. And then return to the back when you're ready, and we just swap sides. So super easy and classic twist. I can let the weight of this leg, so my left knee is revolving to the right, and I'm just letting that left leg be heavy. I'm not concerned whether the knee touches the floor or not. I'm not concerned whether my left shoulder touches the floor, but I am trying to use those exhales to let them move further away from each other, right? Because some people say, well, shouldn't I have my shoulder on the floor, or shouldn't my knee touch the floor? Well, not necessarily. I mean, you got really long legs, and if you're long-waisted, the twists tend to come much easier. And then when you're ready, just return to the back. Go ahead and find neutral for the spine. We're moving into our Shavasana. So when you're ready, just close the eyes, extend the legs. If there's anything else that you need, that you want for your Shavasana, if you want to get something underneath your knees or under your neck, over your eyes, take a moment to do that. And then just come to that internal scan. Just notice what's going on. Is everything relaxed? Can I completely release and relax everything? And then we finish. That last bit of conscious effort is coming from our next exhale. So a deep inhale through the nose, and we exhale with a sigh. Imagine the last bit of tension that entered your day, whenever it was, has just left the building. Enjoy the sensation of doing nothing. Let gravity take over. Now, if you have more time, remember, just stay where you are. Relax. If you're ready to move into the rest of your day or your evening, just begin by gentle movements. Again, wrists, ankles, maybe turning the chin from side to side. In your own time, folding your knees, rolling over to your side, always pausing there. We never want to be in a rush to get out of our practice. Just like we're never in a rush to dive straight into it. We always ease ourselves in and ease ourselves out. And as you're ready, you come up to sitting and join me by placing one hand over the heart center and the other one on top of that. And just noticing that sacred space of the heart center that we hold energetically as well as physically right now. What does the breath feel like under the hands? And then a moment of gratitude for even the smallest things that make us smile, for everything this body does for us. This is where the practice begins. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you really enjoyed the practice and you're just feeling a little bit more alive through the back of the body. See you next time.